You're sitting in the exam hall, the clock is relentlessly ticking down, and you're staring right at a uniformly accelerated motion problem. The ultimate battle to secure those top marks in Cambridge Physics 9702? Well, it's not just about knowing the math. It's an absolute duel between what you know in your head and how you actually prove it on paper. Notice the stark contrast between these two approaches. On one hand, we've got a basic, number-only SUVAT calculation, just the raw formula and a final answer. On the other, a fully annotated, step-by-step top-band process. I challenge you right now. Predict which of these exam-relevant answers completely secures the grade boundary, and which one is literally throwing away crucial marks. So, which one actually gets full marks? You might instinctively think, hey, the simple calculation is fine because the final number is technically correct. But here is the brutal reality of Cambridge Physics 9702. Simply arriving at the correct final number absolutely does not guarantee you a top grade. In fact, writing down the right number can sometimes get you exactly 0. Crazy, right? Let's explore exactly why that happens. Section 1. Top examiner mistakes, the painful reality. 0. That is exactly how many marks an unexplained yet numerically perfect answer might receive. Seriously, if you ignore formatting and presentation, and if you skip writing down your actual working out, examiners can and absolutely will give you 0 marks, even if that final calculated value is flawlessly correct. And this brilliant quote, straight from the principal examiner reports, hits the nail on the head. Answers on SUVAT equations are often too vague. Examiners want specific details and context. This is exactly why ordinary revision fails. Students memorize the formulas. Sure, they can recite the variables all day, but they completely fail to apply specific details to the actual context of the physical system they're being tested on.
Section 2. The method mark strategy.
The absolute game changer here is following the deconstruct, solve, evaluate method. First, identify the given information. Second, break the problem down into logical steps. Third, solve it systematically. And fourth, actually check for reasonableness. When you lay your working out using this standardized sequence, you secure what we call method marks, because process matters. Even if your hand slips on the calculator and your final calculation is dead wrong, having this systematic process literally protects your grade. Okay, wait. Before we go any further, I need to pause for a second. In just a moment, I'm going to reveal an essential examiner clue that will completely shift how you write out your answers. It's a total game changer. But first, we have to build the foundational framework that makes that specific clue obvious. Otherwise, it just won't make any sense in context. Section 3. The high mark answer framework. All right, here is the 4-part framework you absolutely need to systematically process any Physics 9702 question. Step 1, state the concept. Identify the fundamental principle at play. Step 2, pull in evidence and data. Grab that clear data straight from the question. Step 3, apply scientific reasoning. You've got to show your logical steps and causal relationships. And finally, step 4, use precise examiner wording. You must move logically through these 4 stages to prove your connected conceptual understanding. And it's not just about those steps. Strict procedural conventions are absolutely mandatory. We're talking proper headings, correct terminology, appropriate formats, clear annotation, and referencing cross-topic connections. In fact, the principal examiner reports explicitly highlight that referencing cross-topic connections is the exact thing separating top-performing candidates from everybody else. It's all about integrating the entire syllabus. Section 4. Interactive challenge. Spot the error. Let's put you in the examiner's seat for a second with a harder past paper example. We're comparing a flawed SUVAT application against a systematically deconstructed answer. Take a mental pause here. Predict the winner and see if you can spot the specific error. Notice how the flawed answer totally fails to identify similarities and differences. It's missing the comparative connectives that are absolutely required for critical analysis. Let's break this down with some real examiner-style feedback. The student identified the concept, so, boom, they achieved a yes for identifying the principle. But did they use clear evidence and data? No. Did they use logical steps for reasoning? Also no. This perfectly illustrates how marks just bleed away when that 4-part framework isn't followed. They had the core concept right, but completely lost the marks on the execution. Section 5. Resolving the duel. The winner revealed. So, looking back at our very first duel, the winner is incredibly clear. Look at those painful red pen annotations showing desperately lost method marks, compared to the beautiful green checks hitting every top-band framework step. The top-band answer succeeded precisely because it combined systematic analysis with evidence-based reasoning, following every single strict formatting convention we just broke down. Which brings us to the exact examiner clue I promised you earlier. Listen to this. Method marks can save you. Always show your clear working. Your step-by-step working isn't just you doing extra effort for the sake of it. It is literally an insurance policy against calculation errors. It's your most vital defensive strategy to secure points even when the final math goes completely wrong.
Section 6. The next unresolved problem.
But here is the terrifying part. Knowing this framework means absolutely nothing if you blindly walk into the specific, hidden traps that examiners see and heavily penalize every single year. So, what are the exact examiner report mistakes that completely ruin otherwise perfect exams? That massive gap in your exam defense brings us to your mandatory next step, unlocking the examiner report traps. To truly secure your grade, you have to know what these hidden landmines are before you sit down with your exam paper. It's an absolute urgent requirement if you want to protect the physics knowledge you've worked so hard to build. So, to bridge that gap and conquer those hidden traps, subscribe to our YouTube channel Ace the Exams at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. You need to click through to our next explainer immediately to uncover those exact examiner report mistakes and ensure your hard work translates into the top grade you deserve. I'll see you over there. But seriously, ask yourself, are you unknowingly walking into a trap tomorrow that could cost you an A star?